This is Mustang Mike, and you're watching WGS-TV.
Hello, everyone. Welcome to another installment of WGS-TV right here on YouTube.com/WrestleGamer and ZFX-TV. I'm the WrestleGamer, WB Willie Boudreaux, and this is going to be the Impact Wrestling review for the week of February 27th, 2014. As you guys can see, I have the panel here with me, and let me go ahead and introduce them. First off, he is the host of Hardcore Wrestling Radio, and you can see that it's still at YouTube.com/HWR show, but due to some, let's just say, butthurt people here on YouTube, that they will also be making a move to Dailymotion, dailymotion.com/Hardcore Wrestling Radio. The host himself, the Illuminous one, the shining star, Rick Starr. Rick, how you doing?
You know, I gotta be honest with you, up until I just saw that Willow promo, I was in a pretty bad mood, but once I saw that, that really made my day.
Well, now, what is Rick talking about? We'll get to it when we get to that point in the review, as we welcome in our resident music mogul over on YouTube.com/Lance Moss TV. He is the incomparable Lance Moss. Lance, how you doing?
Pretty good. My tires went a day, and so, yeah, I'm having a good day.
And the man from South Park, simply known as Cartman, is here. Cartman, what's up?
This guy.
Correct answer. As we look at the opening of Impact Wrestling this week, it was the contract signing between Samoa Joe and Magnus. I gotta say, you know, standard stuff we've always seen in a contract signing. You know, the heel started to build up the heat, you know, cheap heat, they would say, because he was going after the City of London, which they were in for Impact Wrestling this week. And just one thing led to another, and we saw the typical brawl. You know, every time we see a contract signing in wrestling, there's always a fight, and we had one between Samoa Joe and Magnus, and that's pretty much how they closed out the segment. So that's pretty much just cut and dry right there. We don't really need to go into that one. Dixie Carter gave Bobby Roode, who is the captain of her team, power to make a match to, I guess, maybe figure out who to...
Really, 1 second, you forgot to mention something about the opening segment, is that MVP did make the match between Samoa Joe and Magnus at Lockdown as Joe's Rules match, which is submission, you can only go by submission or KO
knockout
inside the cage.
Exactly, yes. Because he was tired of Magnus's rules, you know, with the no disqualifications and whatnot, so that's why MVP played that card. Opening match has very much to do with what Bobby Roode set up, you know, with the winning team joining his team for Team Dixie, and so the Bromans taking on the Wolves and Bad Influence. I'm guessing you can put it to both teams. You know, whichever team takes out the Wolves will join our team. And it was a very, very decent match. The Wolves ended up hitting the double stomp, but as soon as Robbie E made the tag, they disposed of the Wolves, and the Bromans get the victory. So, therefore, the Bromans, the former tag team champions, are now a part of Team Dixie. Up next is something I want to bring to you, Lance. Ethan Carter III wanted to challenge somebody, a native to London, England, and he chose no one better than Doug Williams himself. I gotta ask you, you know, in your personal opinion, how did Doug Williams look?
A little older, honestly. Other than that, still in the same shape. Looked pretty good.
Yep, they actually had Ethan Carter III just go really dominant on Doug Williams in a sense, as he hit the 1%er on him to get the victory. Up next, now a lot of fans were wanting to see what was going to happen between James Storm and Gunner, especially what happened after last week as Storm screwed Gunner out of the TNA World Heavyweight Championship. And, you know, a lot of fans were thinking, you know, will we see Cowboy James Storm join Team Rude? Well, we didn't see any indications of that happening tonight, though. But, Cartman, were you, after seeing last week and knowing the storyline that's been surrounding James Storm and Gunner, what are your thoughts about the way they're taking it? Apparently, James Storm is jealous in a sense of what Gunner has accomplished, saying that, he was a nobody before he started teaming with him, and then he felt like he was handed a consolation prize when he gave him the tag team title shot. Well, what are your thoughts on that?
It sounds about right, really. The way I kind of see it is I'm starting to kind of like the heel James Storm gimmick. And I hope to see a heel beer money.
Rick, in your personal opinion, would a heel James Storm be more over on the crowd than a face James Storm?
I don't think it's really a matter of getting over. I think it was just a change of character, what he really needed. The funny thing is I kind of saw it coming because Gunner was really getting over with the fans, and it was just a matter of time before. I didn't see Gunner winning the title, and I knew he had to get screwed over somehow. And when I saw Storm coming in, I'm like, oh, here comes the screw job, and that was what it needed to get the screw job. So, and I think the fans will kind of get behind it. So yeah, absolutely.
Well, Magnus obviously very upset over what Samoa Joe did, so he actually had him in a match against some guy named Bad Bones, which Samoa Joe just literally ate up. I mean, for somebody named Bad Bones and just to be absolutely dominated, I mean, it just really made him look ridiculous, Yeah, and we could see what Cartman has put up on his screen. But up next, the Kurt Angle Hall of Fame induction ceremony. I kind of figured with what happened with him and Ethan Carter III, that big attack, that they were going to do something. I didn't think that they would actually do it during the Hall of Fame induction ceremony, but I think, TNA was trying to, push the envelope, as it were, in a sense. MVP giving Kurt Angle a Hall of Fame present in the form of EC3 at Lockdown inside the steel cage. I gotta say, fans in London were just absolutely ecstatic at that news. And it should be really interesting to see how Ethan Carter III works with Kurt Angle. Now, as much as I, ragged on EC3, the guy's got potential. Derek Bateman has potential to go very far. So I'm really interested to see how he works and how he handles himself with Kurt Angle. Rick, what are your thoughts? Kurt Angle, Ethan Carter III at Lockdown.
Hold on. Well, I have to agree. Ethan Carter has started to come a long way in the past couple of weeks. When he first came on, I thought he was going to be just, the only thing he needed, he was getting was just this push from hanging out with Dixie and Magnus, and I'm like, what's he doing here? But then he started really doing some, high quality matches, and he started coming over as a wrestler. He started, showing that he could do stuff. Now, if he had done that from the beginning, he might have gotten my attention a little bit earlier, but now he's starting to. I think this match with Kurt Angle, I'm hoping it doesn't go the way I think it's going to go. I hope he's not the guy who's the one who retires Kurt Angle and gets that bragging rights, because I don't think that he's at that level yet.
Would it put him over,
I'm hoping that he. That's a hard question. Not with me. Not in my book. No. To some fans, maybe. He would definitely use that as bragging rights for his career. I'm the guy who retired Kurt Angle, but, when you're at a certain level, yes, but not there. He's not there yet. Not even close to being there yet.
Up next, we had the beautiful people in the form of Madison, Rayne, and Velvet Sky taking on Lady Tapa and the person we have now confirmed to be the alpha female in tag team action. We also got the announcement that at Lockdown, inside the steel cage, Gail Kim will be challenging Madison Rayne for the Knockouts title. I kind of figured, Gail Kim would interfere in some form or some fashion in this matchup, and she did. Madison Rayne was in control of Lady Tapa until Gail Kim attacked from behind. Tapa then hit TKO on Madison Rayne to get the victory, and then they were going to continue the attack on her and Velvet Sky when ODB came out and cleared the ring. I'm going to say, like I say, cut and dry, nothing bad, to be honest with you. But something that was, Lance, I don't know if I would describe this as creepy. But Samuel Shaw coming out to kind of explain his actions for last week, what happened with him and Christy Hemme and Mr. Anderson. The guy just kind of comes off as just flat out stalker creepy, wouldn't you say?
Yeah, the right way in WWE when they had that whole DDP stalking the Undertaker's wife. This is exactly how they should have done it. I just want a creepy son of a bitch.
Yeah, Mr. Anderson comes out and says he wants to, they want to see a flat out butt whooping, and Anderson tries to do that, but somehow, Samuel Shaw locks in that version of a choke. He had a judo choke, if I remember Taz calling it correctly, and, him passing out. And one's got to figure that somewhere down the line, probably more likely at Lockdown, these two are going to have a match. Samuel Shaw and Mr. Anderson. Next up, Gunner was waiting for James Storm, and he ended up brawling in the parking lot. And after the brawl was over, then, of course, we heard they're going to have a match at Lockdown as well. Now, to reference what Rick was laughing about at the onset of this review, we've had, for the benefit of those, because I didn't do a review last week, I do apologize about that. We've had, week 3 of the Willow promos, and they've been very, Bray Wyatt-esque in a sense. And, before we had this review started, Rick, I know you had your first opportunity to see the vignette that they aired on this week's Impact when it comes to the progression of the Willow character, a.k.a. Jeff Hardy. And you found it to be very humorous. Why did you find it to be very humorous?
I'm going to just tell you, I saw it, and he just, from Jeff Hardy to go from that to, I'm running around, I'm Willow, I'm going to kill you, and I'm going to beat you up, you know what I mean? He sounds like a weird version of Paul Heyman, Paul Bearer. You know what I mean?
Yeah, it would be a weird version of Paul Heyman, but the Willow character, from what I remember back in Omega,
yes,
yeah, from what I remember in his Omega days, he was always a very dark, satanical, almost kind of crazy out there whack job type of a gimmick for Jeff Hardy, and I think what TNA wanted to do and Jeff Hardy wanted to do, he said, he made the announcement that he was leaving, but now he wants to really establish himself as a different character. In my personal opinion, I don't think many of today's wrestling fans are aware that Willow is, in fact, Jeff Hardy, and if they don't, what rock have they been living under? But they're also probably not familiar with the background into the Willow character and the way Jeff Hardy is portrayed. I'm sorry?
I'm one of those people who has no clue about it.
Yes, like I said, he always portrayed it as a dark Joker-esque style of a gimmick. Somewhat similar, Rick. People would say, in my opinion, somewhat similar to the insane icon Sting gimmick, almost in a sense. We didn't hear him do the weird cackle or not, but it was still kind of a nut job along the same vein.
I think he went too far over the edge. I mean, I understand that wrestlers want to create themselves, and that's always a great thing. And I understand what he was trying to do, and I heard that. I know that he's had that gimmick before. With me, it just didn't sell. I just got a good laugh out of it. I just could not stop laughing. I just thought it was funny and humorous, and it was like, I thought it was like a mockery of a recreation of a character. I mean, I'm like, is this a joke? I mean, I know it's not, but I could not stop laughing. I naturally found it funny, and I don't know. It's just, when Sting came out and he recreated his character, you knew it was Sting. You know, Chris Jericho, he recreates his character, and you still know it's Chris Jericho. Jeff Hardy's trying to recreate his character, and he's like, "Oh, I'm Will the Wisp. I'm not." He's taking a character that he's built for so many years, and he's throwing that character away, and throwing that gimmick away. He's like, "Nope, here you go, bye bye," and he's creating it with this like, I don't know, this like make believe, like fantasy gimmick that just doesn't fit.
I don't know if I agree with that, because I've seen Will-O-the-Wisp in Omega. I've actually had the Omega documentary, so I've had the opportunity to see how Jeff Hardy works it. And comparing it to what he's doing today, I can't really agree with that sentiment, Rick. I think it's still along the lines of the same vein, because if you look back in his Omega days, Will-O-the-Wisp always cut his promos like out in the woods. It was always very dark. It was always very weird. And that phrase, we love, we hate, we die forever. I think it's forever linked or forever laid or something to that, in Willow's way. And he always did that cackle. It's still the exact same thing. I think what TNA wants to do is they want to probably regenerate interest into a new character. In their mind, because like I said, today's wrestling fans probably would not know the history and the background into the Will-O-the-Wisp character. So if fans are looking at this who don't know the history of Omega and the history of Jeff Hardy, this is a fresh new character in their mind.
Yeah. But also, listen to what you said about Will-O-the-Wisp, where he came from. They were wrestling in Omega back in the backyards, in the environment. In that environment, it fit. I don't think it's going to fit in an arena in today's world. I just don't think it's going to fit. I think the smart fans might sell it because they're like, well, the marks will fit, will sell into it, but that's about it. That's as far as it's going to go.
Well, only time will tell as we see the progression of the Willow character further into TNA, and more than likely we're going to see the actual in-ring debut of sorts of Willow at Lockdown, is from what we've been told. Now, Austin Aries has been on the fence on whose team to join. Will he join Team Dixie, or will he join Team MVP for Lethal Lockdown? So Austin Aries said, you know what, why don't you and, MVP and Bobby Roode are going to have a match. Why don't I special guest referee it, and I'll let you guys know my decision after the match is over. Well, we kind of got his decision, but it was during the match as Aries attacked MVP, which led to Roode using the Roode bomb. And I'm sorry, but I cannot really dignify this move as a bomb when it's a Death Valley driver. Louis Piccoli is turning in his grave every time Mike Tenay refers to that finishing move as the Roode bomb, in my opinion. That's an insult. It is not a bomb. Go ahead.
May I interject? No, I understand with what you're saying, but I think it's just a name of a move. It's just you know as well as I know it's a Death Valley driver, but I think a Roode driver would have been kind of like, but a Roode bomb just sounds better. I think it's just a name. I don't think they're taking it. Anybody who knows what the real move is, I think they're just calling it a Roode bomb. Just sounds a lot better. I think that's all it really is. I think you're taking a little too much to heart.
Well, officially now we have all four members of Team Dixie. It is Bobby Roode, the captain, with Austin Aries and the Bromance. And as far as we know, it's MVP and the Wolves. We still don't know who the fourth member will be. Unfortunately, guys, we have no fan reviews this week. But again, if you guys, just submit your reviews to facebook.com/WGS-TV. As always, we will read it out loud here on the official review on WGS-TV. It is now time to find out everyone's overall scores and our picks for best and worst match or segment of Impact Wrestling this week. Impact Wrestling this week was kind of right in the middle, kind of like, I'm going to go 3 out of 5 on this. I truly enjoyed Kurt Angle's TNA Hall of Fame induction ceremony, because I got to figure part of it really came from the heart before they started building up to the moment with him and Ethan Carter III. I thought it was good to see Doug Williams back, but I really wanted to see more out of the match instead of just having Ethan Carter III just totally dominate Doug Williams. I just didn't think that was right, given the man's, history and his legacy in TNA, being a part of the British invasion with his tag team partner at that time, Magnus. He was also a former X Division champion, and for some reason TNA just felt fit to put Ethan Carter III over on Doug Williams 100%, and I just didn't think that was right. That's why I'm giving that worst match of the night. As far, and it's kind of tied with Samoa Joe and Bad Bones just because of the fact that some dude named Bad Bones just got absolutely his ass handed to him by Samoa Joe. I thought it was funny to an extent. Now, best match of the night, you know what? I'm going to give it to Rude and MVP. Now, albeit, we didn't know which way Austin Aries was going to go, possibly the route of Bobby Roode, which he did. It was still a really nicely worked match. Honorable mention for worst segment of the night. What the fuck was that with Samuel Shaw and Christiani? That's all I'm going to say about that. Really, that's all I'm going to say. I want to go to Lance first and get his overall score and his picks for best and worst match or segment of Impact Wrestling.
Well, really, to me, there wasn't a bad segment. But, yeah. Best match, yeah, I'd have to give it to the main event, but I have one problem with the match. Do they really have to, do both WWE and TNA have to make everybody, even when they're not involved in a match, come out in gear? Because if you noticed, in Austin Aries, it's like he had forgotten his pants. Anybody else notice that?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I thought it was kind of weird.
I just feel, hey, see, CM Punk can do it, so can I. Anyway, best segment, it's somewhere, it's either the Storm and Gunner in-ring segment, or the Willow promo, which if you want to actually get somewhat an idea of what actually goes through his head, check out Jeff Hardy's YouTube page. Jeff Hardy Brand, youtube.com/Jeff Hardy Brand.
How many of you guys actually caught the reference he did to Omega in that latest vignette? He actually mentions it, that he started his life in Omega and then he was going to bring it to Alpha. I guess in a sense, meaning present. In a sense, I don't know what else to think about that, but let's go to Cartman and find out what he thinks as we get his overall scores and his pick for best and worst match or segment of Impact Wrestling.
Best segment would have to be the Storm Gunner, both of those segments for that matter. And best match would have to be the main event. Worst, there really isn't one except for the creepy as all fuck Samuel Shaw. And one other thing, if anybody in here knows who Extreme Tiger is from AAA in Mexico, please let us know, because TNA posted on their YouTube channel that he was going to be debuting at Lockdown. Teaming with, didn't
the Great
see
Muda, I believe.
Was, but team,
the Great Muda.
And somebody else taking on Daniels, Kazarian, and Chris Sabin.
I think they're going to have him debut as Tiger Uno or Tigre Uno, something like that.
Tigre Uno.
Tigre Uno, okay. So, on that note, guys, as we had a Spanish lesson right there as we finally go to Rick Starr and get his overall score and thoughts on Impact Wrestling.
Well, I'm going to be honest with you. I did not have a chance to watch Impact. Thursday night's a bit of a personal day for me, so I usually don't get a chance to watch it. But I'm going to say one thing that I have noticed when I do watch Impact. Lately, they've been over in the UK, and they have been packing those houses, those arenas. Those arenas are full. And that should give TNA a hint that they should be, sanctioned overseas. They should just take their show overseas and have the show over here, because obviously the WWE is a U.S. show. If they made TNA a UK show, they would sweep things up. They could probably even turn things around.
All right, guys and gals, on that note, what we want to know from you guys out there, the viewers and subscribers, your thoughts on Impact Wrestling this week. What are your overall scores? What are your picks for best and worst match or segment of Impact Wrestling? We definitely want to hear from you guys out there. Be sure to put your comments in the comment section below. Don't forget to like and favorite this video, and I'm pretty sure Rick will tell us how we can find out more information on HWR.
Well, right now, you can always find us over on our Facebook page. That's facebook.com/Hardcore Wrestling Radio, where we're always going to be. Right now, for our shows, we're kind of bouncing around right now. We're in the process of making a switch. Right now, we are still over at youtube.com/HWR show. We will always have our in-the-moment shows, but if you want to listen to our tribute videos and our full Hardcore Wrestling Radio shows, head on over to dailymotion.com/Hardcore Wrestling Radio.
Lance, what can fans expect to see when they come visit your channel over on youtube.com/LanceMossTV?
Album reviews, NASCAR reviews, Brendan will make cooking videos, Q&As, and what else pops in my head.
Cartman is over on youtube.com/KillerXKenny. Cartman, got anything coming up?
Not really, just some, mainly just racing stuff that I have on my hard drive. So, yeah, that's mainly pretty much just it. And then Minecraft. And more Minecraft.
When's our Left 4 Dead stuff going up?
Minecraft.
When's our Left 4 Dead stuff going up?
Whenever I decide to edit it, because I'm lazy. Plus, I gotta bring it into a Geek Squad tomorrow because it's broken.
Fans, he speaks the truth. Fans, don't forget to like the Facebook page, facebook.com/WGS-TV. That was a dig at you, by the way, Cartman. And don't forget to please subscribe to youtube.com/WrestleGamer and youtube.com/ZFXTV Network if you haven't already. So for the illuminous one, the shining star, Rick Star, the incomparable Lance Moss from Lance Moss TV, and the man from South Park simply known as Cartman, I'm the WrestleGamer. Don't be Billy Boudreaux, saying thank you very much for watching.